Hello, fellow Toolboxers. Welcome to episode number 372 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast. We have a great interview today with one of our regulars, Joseph Tsang, who's got his own firm here in Southern California. We talk about the magazine article he did talking about CBP website information you can get, but also how he's running his practice. He's very transparent and has a lot of online content about how he manages the firm business-wise, continued education, and a lot of small tips that are really practical. So it's definitely one that's worth listening to. Again, very transparent and open. And we're going to have a lot more coming from him. In particular, Joseph has been kind enough to, what we're working on, he's going to do an L1 course. So a lot of you may have joined our E2 seminar we've done. It's an hour where we go over a redacted copy of a change of status E2 immigration, consular processing immigration. We're going to have a last set of these E2s for a bit that's going to come up in, I think, the third week of April. So if you want to sign up for that, email me immediately, info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com to learn more about that one. It's $300 for the session, but we're going to pause that E2 because we've been doing it for a bit and move on to L1 and NIW. He's going to do an L1. So we're working on redacting a case and talk about L1 with the nuances of what would have been different if it was EB1C or what stuff is there. And I also have a couple of NIW cases. I'm going to have like an hour session on there. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, email me. But the E2 in particular, because I'm going to put a pause on that for a couple of months. So that's one you want to get to. We don't record these as live, and it's really open conversation in a small group. So it's a very special experience to have. You won't find it anywhere else. If you're interested, email us at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. As I mentioned, Joseph had an article in the magazine. Issue number 8 is out of Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. Go to our website, iltbox.com, to check out that issue. Number 9 is going to be coming out. We have 4 more days before this March ends. So my goal is to have it out in March. It's just when you're editing stuff, there's always a little bit of like, you got to change the grammar here, change the spacing here. Running a magazine is a lot of work as a side, but I'm going to publish it out anyways, get it out. And I want to thank all the contributors. If you're interested in contributing to the magazine, please email us. You have to be a lawyer. Unless if you're not a lawyer, it has to be something really good to make it okay for a non-lawyer to contribute to the magazine. But just with a topic or idea, email us so we see what it is. Then we can flesh it out in a couple bullet points to see if it's good. It's usually 3 pages. Non-citation. It's not a formal like scientific paper or anything like that, but it's a piece of content that's gonna, another immigration lawyer is gonna read and be like, oh, I didn't know that, and it's very helpful. There's a lot of that in immigration law. It'll be a way for you to promote yourself, not just to other colleagues who will refer you clients, but also, customers, clients will find this online too and realize you know what you're talking about because you published this magazine, and most likely we'll have you on the show again, show 2 of the podcast to interview you about what you wrote about, but also about your practice, what you've learned, what you're doing, where you're going, all that kind of stuff. So you can share more knowledge and get more, promotion, free promotion, essentially. I do want to thank our sponsor for this podcast episode and for issue number 8 and upcoming number 9 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazines, Mitratex, Ines, Zoom. Are you tired of sinking your most valuable asset into tedious data entry? Then it's high time to streamline your immigration process with Mitratex INS Zoom, the leading immigration case management software trusted by top law firms and corporations worldwide. Mitratex INS Zoom helps you manage cases, track deadlines, and automate workflows so you can focus on what matters most to your clients. But that's not all. Mitratex INS Zoom launched GovNotice IDP, a revolutionary AI-powered tool that automatically extracts critical information from your government notices and receipts. No more manual data entry errors or headaches. Instead of traditional and highly time-consuming manual entry of USCIS data, GovNotice IDP automates the entire process, ensuring a faster, more error-free experience. Legal teams can upload batches of receipts in bulk with automated classifications, case linking, reducing processing time significantly. So hundreds of cases could be automatic and processed per day. There's automatic email notification you can set up to internal and external stakeholders, and it includes USIS receipt notices, including premium processing and approval notices. With GovNotice IDP, you can process and manage your case faster and more efficiently than ever before. Are you ready to elevate your immigration practice to the next level? Learn more at hrc.mitratech.com/toolbox. That's our special link. It's hrc.mitratech.com/toolbox. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in person. I've been talking with Mitratech people, obviously behind the scenes with phone and stuff, because they've been so gracious to be a sponsor. But they're going to be at the AILA National Conference. And guess what? Immigration Lawyers Toolbox has a booth too. You'll be seeing me. I have a corner booth at two tables, essentially 90-degree angle kind of tables. But I'll be there. So I really look forward to meeting you all. Please come and talk with me. I submit all this stuff, pay the first payment for ALS conference. I got to get the booth stuff. I got to fix all that kind of stuff and prep for it. But it's going to be a fun session. I always end up just talking to immigration lawyers the whole time. I don't go to the actual conference sessions. So this is perfect. I just, instead of walking around looking for people to talk to, you guys come to me and have good conversations. And have you become members by joining our community page. Just get your email. Our free community page has dozens of hours of training for free, white labeled content, all that kind of stuff on Circle.is. So if you're interested, send me an email, info@immigration. That's lawyerstoolbox.com. Having said that, none of the information provided here is intended as individual legal guidance. Please consult an immigration attorney about your case, but you all know that already. Hey, Joseph, thanks for coming on the show again.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. So it's been a bit since we talked, but a lot has happened, both business and Trump and immigration, all this kind of stuff. Well, one neat thing I saw, you have a lot of transparency on your social media, which kind of goes in social media pages. I think it's intended for clients, but you add a lot of stuff that's like outside of that. One recent video you did was like your last internal annual meeting about business planning with your team.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat, what made you have the decision to put that public? And then secondly, on a client base facing channel.
Yeah, well, this is our, I think you're referring to the seminar. So annual, every year in December, 1 week, we sort of close down the office during lunchtime for 2 hours and just kind of have a in-depth training session for the whole company. Think of it like a retreat. We have food, but we're coaching each other, we're teaching each other, and we're going through our company planning. And then we also do that throughout the year, every single Wednesday. We have company meetings to talk about that, but this is more like a concentrated session where we really learn from each other, and we record all of these and we release it, but we don't release the full like 2 hour. I mean, that's too boring for most people,
Yeah.
so we take the 2 hour meeting and we condense it down to the core like 5 minutes, and we kind of share that. The whole idea behind everything we do with our social media is really just documenting our journey. We want clients that like us, that believe in us, that know us. And we are not promising the client the best. We're just promising the client our best,
Hmm.
right? And so we don't have imposter syndrome. We are trying to share our strategy. We tell the clients the limitations that we have in certain areas. And we're completely transparent, right? And in this day and age, we believe one of the hardest things that you can have is trust, because anybody can have a website, anybody can have a great social media account that says you are an expert and you do all these things, but are you really? and
Hmm.
and even if you are, can you be it on Monday and Tuesday? Can you do it for 4 years, which is sometimes some cases take 4 years, right? So are you going to still be there? So the best way we can communicate that is just being transparent, showing our growth, showing our journey, and letting the world see. And the people who like us, love us, they hire us. The people who don't like us, that's totally okay, right? We don't have to please everyone, and we probably don't. But that's kind of like our strategy. But so far, it's working.
When did you start your YouTube strategy? Because you went into it hardcore, and you have regular content you put out. You have 18,000 plus subscribers right now. How was it? 2 years ago or more that you started going focus on YouTube?
We started YouTube during COVID, so 2020.
2020. Okay, so it's about almost 5 years now. Have you
Yeah,
noticed a difference in the clientele that are coming? One is, has there been a difference increase in clientele that's based on social media? And secondly, have you noticed like just the personality or type of clients that you have that are different?
absolutely. Any business book, any business seminar, any MBA program will teach you your best client are referral clients. But
Mhm.
I don't actually think so anymore.
Yeah,
Now, the reason why referral clients, they say it's best because somebody is vouching for you, they trust them, and so you don't have to spend as much time haggling and winning their trust. That is true, right? So somebody who just finds you on yellow pages, who stumbles across your doorstep, yes, a referral client is probably better than them.
yeah,
However, comparing a referral client to somebody who's watched your channel, watched 100 of your videos, has been with you for 2, 3 years and seen you grow, and now when they have an issue, they're inquiring you, it's a completely different feel. The moment the consultation starts, they're smiling, they're asking about family, about jobs, about different people at the firm. They already know you. It's like as if they're insiders.
yeah,
And they already watch all your videos on how you solve these particular case. They know you can do it. They know their situation matches your skill set. And so 95% of normal conversation of selling, of telling them what you do,
Yeah.
how you do it, none of that. You don't have, you skip past all of it and you just directly go to the core and you just immediately engage and do, and it's like working with a friend.
Yeah.
That I would say is the biggest difference when you have fans and people who are constantly watching your channel.
Yeah, that's what I realized about 10 years ago when I started doing it. And I'd go to these lawyer group meetings where it's like referral kind of groups. And I say, I do, social media, people find me and they're like, look at me like I'm a loser. And like, no, this 99% of bar says this. Referrals are the best. I don't know these
Yeah,
YouTube social media. They poo poo it like it's like this, but
yeah,
they have like no understanding. It's like there's no sales involved. They come like blank check. They don't even ask the price. They're just like, I want to
right,
work with you. I've made my decision. Just
right,
please let me work for you. That's what clients come to you. So it's like a
right.
not hidden secret, but that's why when people keep saying, "Oh, referrals the best source." It annoys the hell out of me when they say that because people say all the time. But you hit it on the head. It's better than a cold like Yellow Pages. Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Compared to that, it's better where someone's running into you. But it's like 100x better for
yeah,
social media. If someone's following you and they because people follow, like I have a live show that's coming on an hour, and there's people who've been watching that show for 2 or 3 years, and then they
right,
finally come to citizenship or some point and they want to hire me. So they've
right.
been following you for years. It's like kind of surprising people would do that. I would there's certain things I follow on YouTube, but like I would never imagine following an immigration attorney, but people do it and they're really into it.
Absolutely right. And so you do a really good job with your TikTok. You do a really good job with your podcast. You're famous everywhere. Everywhere I go for Ayla, people know you. They reference you. They know me through you. Like it's pretty remarkable what you've built. And
Thank
I
you.
think that's true. There's people who are eager to learn things that are not just cookie cutter on the web, copied and paste from USCIS website, right?
Yeah.
So people who are in the game year after year, who are in it for the love of the game, to because they like practicing immigration, they like the nuances, they like the interesting stories, and you're sharing about it, you're teaching about it, people are following that, learning that, they could see you're the real deal. And so, maybe somebody else is a little cheaper, maybe somebody else is a little faster, but can they trust them compared to can they trust you? But you are very trustworthy, right? And so that's the difference, committing a part of your time to documenting your journey, committing a part of your time to putting, content out there, whether it's written, video, or audio, doesn't matter as long as you keep on doing it year after year. That's the thing that nobody can copy, right?
Yeah.
AI can copy anything these days. Anybody who has a thick skin, they can copy. Like we actually suffer that. We've spent a lot of time prior to YouTube just writing success stories. Like that was all we did for our,
Hmm.
for our marketing. We didn't do anything else. We didn't do ads. We just write success stories to release in the world. But we found there are certain firms out there and agencies that 100% copy our success story, change out our name, and just said they did it. And that was like really contentious.
Yeah.
Um, but what can you do? But if you make a video, if you're talking about it, if you're an expert in this area, well, they can copy one thing. Can they copy
Yeah.
two or three? Right. And
Yeah.
so no, you're doing great.
I appreciate it. Same to you. So, how does your firm look different than when you got your firm? And you started, was it 2015 when we took over the reins?
Yeah, well, I graduated law school in 2012. So from then on, just kind of running the entire show. I think the biggest difference is that before I remember the days where there was no paid consultation. It was all free consultation. I remember the days where you had to do like seminars and you try to get like 20, 30 people in a
Yeah.
room and share. You have to travel to where the clients are. So since completely changing from that to now, doing a lot of content online, now people watch the shows, people watch the live seminars, people read the articles, and then when they're ready, they just go online and book consultation and you just directly jump in to
Yeah.
talking about their case. You sign the case and you immediately get to work. So the energy, instead of spending, 9 free consultations to get one potential real consultation, that was like years and years ago.
Hmm.
Now you spend that effort, you just create 10 really good, content, you release it to the world, people watch it, and then the right person finds you and they just do the case. So
Yeah.
instead of wasting it on, you know, something that doesn't actually come to anything. Now you just create something that will live forever online, right?
Very cool. And you did mention articles and stuff. You have a really neat article in the current issue of the Toolbox magazine where you talk about CBP and all the different million websites that you have to access. You got to be familiar with. So I appreciate that. Now you have a special relationship and with CBP, and not a special in some illegal way or something like that, but you just handle the southern border, the California crossing a lot, helping clients there. How is the situation? Have you seen in the last couple months? What have you seen on your end?
Absolutely insane. The news impacts them so much. So there was one day, I think it was last month when I was there, the entire line and the buses and the cars was like completely empty.
Mm,
And I'm just shocked by that. Like normally they see 40,000 people a day.
wow.
And then that day was like maybe a couple hundred, like people just stragglers in. But the thing is, it's not like they're putting out a billboard saying don't come. It's not like they are rejecting people. It's just the news media in both sides of the country on all social media platforms causes this much panic so that people don't go
Hmm.
into the US. And the people who are in line, I'm not they're I don't know if you know the southern border. Most of them are US citizens, green card holders, people with visas
Yeah.
or people with birth certificates. These make up the majority of the 50,000 people coming in legally. But legal entry dropped to like trickles
Wow.
that day that I was there. I was the only person in line with my client going in. And it was a crazy case. So I'm glad I got the full attention of all the officers, right? It was a kid. He left the US at 9 years old. He finally came back in at 19 years old. So he'd been out of the country for 10 years.
Hmm.
But I had to go explain everything to the officer. This kid, um, yeah, like his mom abandoned the green card, but his brother didn't, and they have property in the U.S. and he got accepted into Ivy League. So I was going through that story, and the officer was listening and preparing, and then eventually got in, right. But like pretty much the entire like line was just for
Yeah.
us, and another client was similar too. Like just there's nobody there; it was just us. So, but again, last week I just went and it was like back to how it was, like 50,000 people crossing. So it's crazy, yeah.
Was the child a 19-year-old a Mexican citizen or a national of another country?
It was a Hong Kong national
Okay.
flying to Mexico to do this entry. His student visa was actually denied because the consulate said you still have a green card. We cannot give you a student visa until you abandon your green card.
Oh
And
wow.
that's when the brother freaked out and said, "Oh, you still have a green card?" And then found us, and then we figured it out, and we got them in. And so he's a green card holder still.
We did it's in our community page. It's private for lawyers about SB1 visas, range permits, all this kind of stuff. So if you're a lawyer listening to this, you could join for free. Joseph does a really good job spending an hour talking about all these board absence issues for green card holders and returning all that kind of stuff. But in it, I talk about I never like doing the SB1 because I've like seen so much horror
Yeah,
stories from it.
right.
I just want to share. I had a person contact me. They're a U.S. citizen. They went to renew their passport. This is something that's happening a lot in the Middle East. They're then challenging the passport, just taking it away, saying essentially parents are citizens, but they don't transfer citizenship to the children. They get a green card for the child, come to the U.S., spend a weekend here, apply for passport, and leave. They don't reside in the U.S. Because they don't
Hmm.
reside. The INA says you get the citizenship as soon as you enter, but the regulations say no, you have to reside in the U.S. There's no definition of residing. So then now they're 40 years old, and then they get their passport taken away all of a sudden. Either I've seen 10-year-olds to 40-year-olds. And this
Wow.
happened. They're like, "What should we do?" I'm like, "Well, the green card was still valid. They had a green card that was still like had a year or two left." I'm like, "Just do the border thing, that which I recommend."
Yeah.
But they're like, "You know what? I'm a small kid. I can't just take off and show up at the border and see what happens." And I'm like, "Then go the SB1 route." And the SB1 argument was like, I thought I was a citizen, so I didn't think I had to stay there. But now I realize, like, I just pulled this out of a hat and said I'm not a citizen, and they approved the SB1. I was really surprised after like
Mhm.
15 years of absence or something like that.
Nice.
I was
Yeah.
like, that was really good. So this stuff happens, and when you do SB1, essentially it's a whole new immigrant visa, so they have to do a
Yeah.
DS260. No outfit is a
Yes.
requirement, but I thought I'd share that information because I was
Yeah.
amazed that actually worked out.
No, I love it. I love it. Consulates, sometimes they do some amazing things.
Hmm.
Yeah. So recently, we went to Mexico City to do a consulate tour and got to speak with every consular officer and watch them do the interview and see the behind the scenes thing. So interesting. Like they have all the inadmissibility, deportability stuff for non-immigrants right there next to them, so they can like refer to it when they have to deny people. But yeah, just knowing their process, and they are their goal is to let each officer make that discussion, and they know that not everybody's going to make the same determination, but they just
Yeah.
try to normalize it, right? So same fact pattern, a people will rule one way, two people would rule another way, and that's normal. And
Yeah.
but that's the system that they want, right?
Yeah. Super frustrating, but it is
Yeah,
the system, especially
that is
Mexico.
a
You
system
see
that
it.
they want people to be adjudicating, and it might not be perfect, but that's the system that they want, and so sometimes you get denied, just don't give up and try again, right?
Yeah, like I had one TN that was like a really clear. It was going to be a management consultant TN or something like that, but they're like, no, you need an L1, and it wasn't a proper L1 case, so they deny the case, saying, oh, you got the wrong was L1, thinking like they don't realize that doing an L1 is like, first of all, wasn't the case was proper, but you have to jump through a lot of hoops, and we would have
Yeah,
refiled, but the appointments, this is like 2 years ago, it was like next appointment 9 months from now. They're like, oh, I can't
yeah,
do that. Poor people, it's like so frustrating.
yeah,
But
yeah, it's
that's
hard.
the stuff.
Mhm.
So what else? What's the plan? So I mean, we're beginning of the year, March. We haven't had a recap of I haven't met up with you in a while. First of all, are you coming to Colorado for the ALA conference?
Yes, I am.
And you
Yep,
bring the whole
excited
team
to be there.
again, or
We have 4 people signed up so far, so normally we go with like 7, but we might just be at 4, but we'll see. Some people like to sign up last minute.
I hear you. So it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna have a booth there actually for the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox at the.
Okay,
I'll see you there. I'll have my own
yeah.
table and stuff, just talking to people. Maybe I'll do podcasts on the spot. I'll have a live show.
No, you should absolutely. I'll join you. That would be awesome. Yeah,
I'll have the mic set up and a camera. Yeah, so people sit down, we'll do podcasting, and we'll talk to people.
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually I got to start planning out what we're gonna do because I just sent them the paperwork for it today.
Cool. First time doing a booth at
Yeah,
ALA.
yeah.
Nice.
So we're sure you're cool. I'm next to Imi Translate and Roman Zelechenko's labor list in some corner. I got a corner once. So I have two angles people can see me, so that should be cool. But so you'll be in Colorado. What are your plans? I was going to ask you earlier actually. So when the time you kind of took the reins of the firm until now, how does the makeup of the firm look? Because I know you have like a managing attorney now that helps you a lot of stuff. I remember a couple years ago
Yeah.
that was a big pickup. You were really excited when that happened. How does
Right.
the lawyer to paralegal ratio look like in the U.S. team?
The US team, we have about 5 attorneys,
Wow.
and each attorney has at least one paralegal and then one legal clerk and then maybe one intern. So each team consists of about 4 people, right? So spread it out, that's about like 25 people. That's kind of like where seating capacity is, sort of like our max seating capacity is about 30, but that's really pushing it. And we were there like last summer. So I feel like it's this continuous grind of marketing, getting more clients, getting more staff. We need remodel, add more seating. We need more IT, need more computers, need more marketing. It just kind of goes in circles. But you really want to find kind of your sweet spot and your comfort zone, and not burn yourself out. So I feel like we're at a point where we kind of want to stay here for a while, because we went from like a 3-person firm in 2012 to now like 25. So just every year it's expanding office,
Yeah.
new lease, new remodel, new marketing, new just constantly growing. And so now it's like, okay, let's stabilize for a little bit, let's get our bearings, and then kind of
I think it was
expand
you
more.
that told me that when a firm grow, 25 is like the next like ceiling you hit that you have to break through to go larger than that. That's a couple years back in an interview where like
Yeah. So 0 to 1 is a big jump, right? If you have 0 employees, you're hiring your first one, you build out an entire new system to kind of delegate to one person. And then 1 to 3, that's another huge jump. Now it's, instead of one person, it's a team. 3 to 10 is a big jump. 10 to 30 is a big jump. And then 30 to 100 is a big jump. So if you're growing from 30 to 60, it's you could keep the same system relatively, right? Nothing will really break down, right? If you have 30 people, each person getting one intern, bam, you're at 60 already.
yeah.
So nothing really changes. But if you're going from 30 to 60 to 90 to 100, suddenly you can't talk to, you know, 99 people every single
Yeah.
day, right? Even at the size of like 25, sometimes I only see somebody once a month now. So we try to have the company meeting so everybody's together. Different people work remote. Media team does different things than the business immigration team, than the Spanish team, than the Korean team. So there's so many things that we're like juggling, but it never ends. And
Yeah.
so you have to love what you do so you could keep on grinding and enjoy the process.
I know you guys do a lot of different kinds of cases, but is there a number of cases a month you expect from each team, or value, or some what metrics do you use, like how much you expect from a team?
So not all teams, just like not all people are created equal. The EB1A, EB2, and IW team, you cannot expect them to have the same volume as the reentry permit team,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes we do like 150 reentry permits a week, and then we do like, a one EB1A filing a week, right? Just try to
Mhm.
get it out the door, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the same. Revenue also not the same, right? There's loss leaders.
Yeah.
H1B is a loss leader. EB1A is arguably a loss leader, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much work that kind of goes into it. You don't really make a profit, but it's a good story. It feels good. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It expands our horizons. And you need to keep on experimenting and testing different things until you find something that really drives profit. And then you assemble a team to make a profit. So one profitable team is like the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the people of the teams make 80% of the profit, but that's okay. That doesn't mean the other 80% is slacking off. Maybe the other 80% is a different season, different time. Not everybody has the same summer and winters at the same
Mhm.
time, right? There's a seasonality for everything. Spanish family cases versus Spanish business cases versus Korean, they're geopolitics. They're
Yeah.
all different. So as long as each team they're doing their best to advance their department and themselves, that's good enough.
Yeah, I found like to get the EB1A team like profitable is like the prices, like I've had to increase them to start breaking even. But I found like because we make marriage family based immigration as the bread and butter, but the EB1A NIWs are just really interesting when they come and they tell them what they're doing. It's like, wow, this is really neat. I want to be a part of this in some form or fashion. So it drives it. A lot of it is the emotion and the story, and like this is really cool stuff to
Mhm.
be working on. Uh,
Yeah,
what I found is like the big firms who like do a lot of them. I mean, there's some that do like 100 a month. And I'm
yeah,
like telling the lawyer, how do you know what's going on there? It's like, well, there's a writing team and there's like a non-lawyer team of like 10 people working on it. And they're just giving a final look through at it, which is kind of like, I
right.
don't really like practicing like that, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, it is what it is. But I guess that's how it gets profitable, where like one attorney is bringing in $1 million of work and they're a year. It's like, how do you really know what's going on? But you have, paralegal teams and teams of writers and researchers and stuff that are hopefully plugging the gaps there. And that's how it
yeah.
makes it profitable.
Yeah, well, pick your lane, right? Like anything that you know how to do really, really well and do it consistently and sustainably, that could become profitable, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's an I-90, if it's a reentry permit, if it's interviews. If you can do it sustainably, you can
Yeah.
scale it, and you're passionate about it. It could be profitable. But for EB1 type cases, if you do 100 of them and you do all 100 for dentists who specialize in this particular
Yeah.
demographic of people, then it's profitable because you know everything. It's the same for everyone. So you copy and paste and you fill out the form, you file, and you chuck it up to luck for a lot of these cases, right?
Yeah. That's
But if you do it only once in a while and you're customizing each thing, it's like a Bentley, right?
yeah.
Are you an assembly line or are you creating one unique item? And there's joys to both. But just don't, expect yourself to do one thing and then become like super
Yeah.
profitable, right?
So I had one EB1A I did for swimmer, and
Yeah,
I had to learn all the swimming competition, everything. And then it took forever, but then the guy started referring his friends over, and I'm like, oh great,
yeah,
I know this. But all his friends were not as established as him, so none of them were. I'm
yeah,
like, oh, we can't file any of these. But like, I never got any swimmer cases after. I'm like, I have all this knowledge of everything about the swimming competition, the different kinds of
yeah,
backstroke and this stroke. And then it's
yeah,
like, so
yeah,
we actually last year had a couple of randomly at the same time EB1As for like neuroscientists back to back to back that came, and that
yeah,
became really helpful because we understood which journals they get published in and which awards
right,
there are and what's good and what's
right,
not. So we did a couple of marketing pieces on particularly that. I just got to do it more. So be like, listen, we've done this, we know the field, so that comes
yeah,
profitable once you like know like the database information you need to know for that topic. But there's an endless. It's even when it's broad, it could be anything, as long as you're really good at it.
Right.
Tattoo artist or whatever. Like I know that's her name, Flavia Loy Santos. She's done tattoo artists and stuff, knows that field really well.
Yeah.
But it's cool where you can like specialize. And we have a colleague who does track and field a lot in Florida,
Right.
Ksenia Myrova. So he's really like fine tuned and know these fields really well.
Yeah, yeah. You pick your lane and you do a good job, right? You don't have imposter syndrome to say you can do everything and anything, because that's just not true, right?
Yeah.
You can't spend that much time and learn everything. You can't learn all of EP5 source of fund stuff and know all the EP2, EP3 perm processing and all the latest forms and do EB1A and be the expert on every single field under the sun for every single country and speak every language, right? That's just not practical. So and then if you're selling yourself as that, then that's where you get nightmares, because then it's like you're not fulfilling your promise. So whatever you want to do, you really want to let the world know that, and then to have the right people choose you. I think that's like the core of the marketing, right? And
Yeah.
so we don't say we're expert in any field, but we say when you people bring us a case, we dedicate ourselves to that case and we customize it.
Hmm.
We understand it's not profitable. We don't expect ourselves to be profitable from these, but we want to be able to help and come up with these stories. It's stories that value, right?
Hmm.
And if our team is okay with that, clients like it, then it works, right? And so yeah, different departments need to do different things.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Like how hard it is to do everything. I have a marriage green card course that talks about how to run that operation. And I had a person that called today. She was doing like asylum and removal and EB1A, but never like family for some reason. And I was like, you're gonna run yourself dry, go to immigration court, and then at the same time doing the EB1A. It's just gonna burn. Even if you do success on all of them, and even if you're making money, you're gonna burn yourself out. Like so, it's kind of like hyper focus on the stuff you create systems for, and you know how it is
Yeah,
because you got a family, this and that. It's just like you can't just say yes to every money that comes in. You got to kind of make a
right,
decision and be like, I'm going to do this or that
right,
because it's just so different and it's so time consuming. You're working all the time, you're studying all the time. It's just
right.
and if you don't know an answer and you can't find it and there's deadlines, it's just creating a lot of burden on yourself for no reason.
Yeah. So, but it's okay when you're in your 20s, right? In your
Yeah,
20s, keep
I
on
guess.
learning, keep on pushing yourself, expand your horizon, do all the case category that's given to you.
Yeah.
But when you're in your 30s, when you're 40s, when you're trying to build out a system and expertise, pick your lane, market the hell out of yourself in your expertise, and the way you market really should be 10 people that should not work with me, right?
Yeah.
Who are the people that shouldn't choose us? Once you have that in mind, right? Once you have a clear idea of who should work with you, who do you want to work with, make that crystal clear,
Yeah.
right? And then let the world kind of see that.
Yeah.
I think you don't want to, broaden yourself to too many different things. Be committed to one, not necessarily client. I'm not talking about like ethnicity or
Yeah.
like a case type. I'm talking about a lifestyle, right? Because a lifestyle is sustainable. You can wake up, you could do this thing, you could keep on doing it again and again because it's you, right? You don't have to change your lifestyle to something else. But like being at the office and processing cases, that's a lifestyle. If you're going to court, that's a lifestyle, right? If you have to bat and go into litigation mode and like fight different people, that's a different lifestyle. So what kind of lawyer do you want to be? Solicitor, barrister? Do you want to train a team, or do you want to solo and do cases? That's completely different, right?
Yeah.
So make your value known.
The only thing I was wondering, I got to ask him. Charles Cook seems like he does litigation, removal, asylum. And like, he's probably got a really good team that handles it. It's kind of like Elon Musk. You got 6 different companies and you go in the government. It's like, but it's like, how do you not get burned out? I mean, he's been doing it for a long time and he's one of the top experts in our field. I always wonder, like, how's this guy jumping on everything and having an answer for everything? That's a tough one. But
Yeah,
for, I guess, our millennials and stuff, it's a different story. If you have 40, you have kids, you have stuff. You guys kind
yeah.
of like decide how you want to live your life and have the practice adjust to that. It's harder if you're an employee, but even that's doable. As long as you pick one thing and you're doing it really good, you can make it really profitable and make everyone happy, the employers, the employee, everybody.
Yeah, if you're a star employee, the whole company would mold itself to your strength,
Yeah.
It's so hard to find really star capable individual contributors. So if you make yourself shine, you can have as much freedom and flexibility as a entrepreneur, as a startup, as a owner. In fact, probably more, because you're number two in the company. Number one has to deal with all the other headaches, the HR, the firings, the hirings, and
Yeah.
all the budgets. The number two, you can make all the contributions, right? And arguably, people respect and like you more. So, just become a person of high value, become a person of high individual contributor, right? Be a game maker. So, yeah.
Well, that's perfectly said. Joseph, thank you so much for coming on the show again. What's the best way people could reach out and follow you and connect with you?
Well, check out our YouTube channel, check out our website, follow us on LinkedIn. But thank you for following. And I'm also doing TikTok now, following you, John.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, TikTok's a way to go, and some people have made whole $1 million practices off TikTok. If you just kind of you'll see. So, well, that's a whole conversation. Actually, on the private videos, we have with Maria Shaplinsky, I think is her name, Marina Shaplinsky, I believe, and she does a lot of TikTok, and we talk about the ups and downs of it and how it's very demanding to be very successful on TikTok. You got to live on it, which is hard because you're constantly thinking, "What should I do next?" I have
No,
a friend who's actually, they're like the number one YouTube page now. GD Law. I'm so bad with names, okay, but essentially, he's like number one YouTube page with Spanish, not English as well as getting it. And they got the YouTube like plaques and stuff. But one
wow.
partner is really hyper focused on doing the videos, and the second one does handling cases. And that's like
Mm,
that's the way to do it. Because it's hard to manage the firm and run the marketing at the same time because
right,
social media is all consuming 24/7. And so
right,
you have to have a team and you have to think about it. And it's hard to switch the brain of like, oh, what kind of marketing content am I going to do, as opposed to like, okay, I got to do an EB1A or I got to talk with this,
right.
do this I-140, I-45. So it's a switch. But having a firm with two people means you got to have a lot more staff, more money, and it's just like
Yeah,
the expansion aspect is the least
yeah.
favorable aspect of business that I found. That's why I'm trying to figure out ways to scale without having to expand human wise. There's so much extra work and stuff that you got to put into figuring that out.
Right. Yep, I totally hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
So stay on the line after this, but thanks again for coming on the show. I'll just end it, but thanks for coming on, Joseph.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Very cool. Joseph's so nice coming on the show. I love talking with him. And, fortunately, we don't get a chance to talk so much because everyone's so busy, but this podcast is a really good tool to get to catch up with people and just openly talk. It's a one-on-one conversation when the whole world sees it. But we're going to have a lot of these conversations at the AILA conference. If you're going to be there, let me know. Let me know ahead of time, but definitely come. You'll see me sitting at my booth with the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox logo. Happy to talk and get to know you better in person. Because all this online stuff, it doesn't substitute at the end of the day seeing each other in person. Just a heads up for a lot of you that are getting into immigration law or have team members that are coming and you want to train them fast. We have a 15 plus hour marriage based immigration course that has all these videos, training documents, systems that we have, all that kind of stuff, plus office hours and one-on-ones that can really help you jumpstart your practice, get it faster, or get the training done much faster. If you want more information, email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. It's a passion project I did many years ago, and we redid it again. And we have it's the best thing out there if you want to be an immigration attorney, or even if you're practicing already, to get updated on the best stuff. Our students love it. We get good reviews, and again, it's like it gets mentorship baked in the cake, where you have the video mentorship plus one-on-one with me plus group sessions, all that kind of stuff. So it's something I highly recommend doing. Just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com to start. We'll have a quick chat to fill you in on if it's appropriate for you and what's going on with this course. But having said that, thanks so much for joining. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.